Hi, kia ora, good morning. Good morning, Morena. So I'm just currently having my breakfast and sipping my coffee, my second coffee. I've been up since about 20 past 7. So, because I fell back asleep after I recorded that Virgin Mary video and I'm still reeling from what happened. But I had a dream that Putin came to Yorkshire and my boys and I were giving him a tour around York. Like we were being his tour guide and then he vanished, right? So now I'm starting to realise, okay, because my dreams are talking a lot. And so I'm sitting here having my breakfast and I'm trying to look for places in America where I can reach out to people when I'm ready to build my foundation and my circus burger house, which is going to have the museum attached to it. And I want to be able to collect authentic, real, not replicas, anything to do with the circus, Barnum and Bailey. Hang on, excuse me, I'm trying not to burp on camera. All the memorabilia from the circus days. When I do my media junket in regards to letting people know that I'm building this foundation and we're going to be doing auditions and we're needing I need staff. I want people to come out of retirement and come and be mentors at the school and all that sort of thing. I'm hoping I'm hoping that in part of my village I can have like a little retirement village for my people. I'm trying to talk people who have retired from Hollywood and the music industry and the games industry and that to come out of retirement and make a bit of money, staying with us and being mentors for the kids. I want the best. I'm talking about, the seamstresses and special effects people that made iconic costumes and sets in that for Hollywood and that are retired, but they know they've still got a lifetime of knowledge to teach the kids in my costume design and design department and all of that, and give them like their own little part with their little apartments and stuff where they can come and step out of retirement but still have their own independence and privacy and that, you know what I mean? So I'm scouring. I'm flapping my little dragon wings and I'm scouring the internet. I'm scouring social media. I'm scouring YouTube. And I need to be able to put the word out that I'm looking for authentic circus and freak show exhibits, exhibit pieces. And I've just found out that they were also called dime museums. And I've just been looking at some of them, and I, I, I only want to focus on freak show, sideshow, circus, dime shows, where it's to do with the people themselves. So I'm not necessarily looking for, I mean, although, your two-headed goats and all of that sort of thing, maybe, if they're from exhibits from back in the day, I only want from the authentic period. So I need people to keep an eye out for me. I need someone to go hunting these museums and oddities and, putting the word out for people who have stuff in their private collection who would be prepared to let us, if they weren't going to sell them to us, at least let us borrow them for a time to put them on display. Because like I said, my great 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 grandfather was a strong man in the circus, and if I could find anything to do with him, oh my God, I'd be over the moon. And then I could put it up and, you know, all of that. So that's going to be attached to, just think of Planet Hollywood, but for circus freaks. And I hate using the word freak, but they embraced it because it made them very rich. Like Tom Thumb became very wealthy from being called Tom Thumb. And the Wolfman and all that, they made a ton of money. So that's going to be that, like Planet Hollywood, but for circus freaks and, you know, circus stuff. Freak shows, dime shows, circus. But authentic, like if I could get authentic Barnum and Bailey posters and all that, that would be amazing. Anything to do, you know, like Harry Houdini, those jackets that he used to try and escape from and all of that sort of thing. Anything that was attached to the circus and freak shows in that, in regards to the people and the acts that they performed or the reason why they were there, right? So then I'm also going to have my occult museum inside the School of Alchemy. There'll be like a whole part of the house dedicated to things that are occult based, paranormal, supernatural, cursed objects, that sort of thing. And then later on, obviously, once we pump games out and TV shows and video games and that, I'm going to have a museum with memorabilia from our movies and video games and TV shows, like little sets for, because you know I'm going to do my version of James Bond now, like Super Mario Nation, like Thunderbirds and that, so we can have like little set pieces and set pieces from the time jumping detective. And I've been to the Doctor Who museum in Cardiff in Wales, and it was one of the greatest experiences of my life. I have photos of them somewhere in one of my memory cards, trapped at the Dungeon of Doom on the other side of town. Once I get all my stuff back, I'll be able to show you all the photos. And so, yeah. And so now I'm sitting here thinking, watching this stuff, and I thought, once everything's up and running, once we've got some movies made, once we're pumping out TV shows and, you know, like have Tallulah. I don't know why I called the lady in When the Bell Breaks, our soap opera, I call her Tallulah. I don't know if that's going to be her name, but I said to my sister, it's stuck in my head to call her Tallulah. Although, you know, she's a very wealthy woman. She's the woman who owns the hotel. She married into the money, and her husband, who was older than her, left her the money, and you know she built the hotel and blah blah blah, and she has her rival. It's our version of like Dynasty and Dallas and Falcon Crest and all of that, and the woman in it, our Joan Collins, or you know, I call her Tallulah, and I don't know why I call her Tallulah, but I'm not necessarily gonna have her Tallulah. But you know, some of Tallulah's gowns will be on display, and the dress that she wore when she shot so and so, and you know, all that sort of thing. So after a couple of years, when everything is up and running and we're pumping out movies and TV shows and all of that sort of thing, because I was going to let people be able to do tours at the games company and TV company and movie company and that anyway, like looking behind glass windows sort of things to see like the cogs turning of how these things are made, which I still could do, but I'd like to be able to have exhibits at the end where people could take photos of their favourite things from the stuff that we made. I'm going to do tours of the park. I'll have a tour guide. And because we're going to have a miniature train that goes around the whole foundation, so you can get on and off at lots of different stations, like our kindergarten, Diana's place, you know, and you'll be able to get on and off at any point in the park, you know, to if you can't walk, too lazy to walk, have too many kids to drag along, you know, that sort of thing. You can take our miniature train all around the park. And hang on, I chipped a nail and I need to file it. So I'm going to do tours. We will do tours of the park, and I was just thinking, when we do the occult museum side of the tour, because I'll have like Ouija boards and stuff like that, I was just thinking, because I'm just currently looking at a slasher movie museum, and you know, I want to specialise in horror movies, and I want to be the place that makes all the best modern day horrors, and Halloween's going to be like one of our best, most exciting times of the year. Doing tours of the museum, I will be able to get students at the time to do exhibits like using Ouija boards and stuff like that to show people how Ouija boards are used, but using that opportunity to explain how they're used. Watching them do a seance, watching them like use a Ouija board and all of that, and explaining to them, this is the reason why it works, this is how it happens, and being able to put the science behind it all, which would be a great way to teach them, because I know what I'm going to be doing with the rest of it, which I'm not going to go into here, but it will be very interactive, but not in a cheap tacky way, like in the educational, oh my god, that was so much fun way. And the reason being is that when Chris and I first met in Australia, I took him to Movie World, and he got pulled out of the crowd to play a role in the movie where they used one of the real planes from the Memphis Belle movie, and they put him in a pilot's jacket and cap, and he got to sit and pretend to fly the plane in front of a blue screen. They tried to drag me up, but I was too shy. I ran and hid behind complete strangers, because like, I have no interest in being the centre of attention, but I want to be the reason why other people are the centre of attention. And he loved every minute of it, and he got up there, and Movie World always stuck with me, and I want to do my own Movie World. Like I took things from Movie World and Dream World and Dracula's Theatre and that, and I've used those things to inspire me for what I'm creating at Fire. And so my tours in that will be very interactive. And I don't think my ex realises when he decided to get in the plane that day and pretend that he was one of the actors on Memphis Belle, that he was helping inspire in me a creative art school where kids would be able to do the same thing, but where they would be in the movies that I created. Like my War Babies, my movie War Babies, which is going to be about the Māori Battalion. And, you know, my Uncle Nick's time in World War II and the Māori Battalion. So yeah, we're going to do interactive, educational, immersive tours. And I'm not going to be able to really do it until everything is up and running and we've got like quite a few movies pumped out. But even just with one school, I'm pretty sure we could make a couple of movies a year. Sorry, that's someone backing back past my flat. We could make a couple of movies a year, so it wouldn't be very long before we had enough to start putting in our museum for, you know, TV and movie museum. But if I had other schools helping in other countries, then we could be pumping out quite a lot within a couple of years, and then I could do like a full guided tour. But they could get on and off the train. We'd have like a particular tour train. All aboard, boop, boop, and have like a tour train where they'd get on the train and go to the next bit. I mean, obviously they wouldn't need to see like the kindergarten, like Diana's place and all of that, named after Princess Diana. So they'd bypass all that stuff, and then they'd go to like the haunted house where the School of Alchemy was. And then they'd get a guided tour where the person would explain all the exhibits, and then my students in that could put on exhibits, you know, like put on little things for them to show them how Ouija boards are used and scrying, and but explain it all. Get people, you know, we need a couple of volunteers to come and sit down, and, you know, we're going to show you how it's done, you know, and they can sit and watch and, you know, then go on and then move on to the next bit. But this is how this is made and that's made, and here's the exhibits and all of that sort of thing. And then, yeah, take them to the circus museum. And I think I want the outside of the restaurant of my burger house to look like a circus tent, but be a building inside, so you don't know it's a building until you walk inside, but it looks like a circus tent, like basically covering the actual building with a massive circus tent. But once it's all up and running, yeah, offer tours. And then once the tour's over and done with, you like meet here at 1, you know, first tour's at 10, next tour's at 1, next tour's at 4 or something like that. Give them a tour and then let them walk around. Giving the tour, people on the tour, access to things that normal people coming to the foundation, just walking around and shopping and eating and that, wouldn't have access to. So you could pay for 2 entrance fees. One where you just walked around and did shopping and sat in parks and, you know, watched live shows and all of that sort of thing. And the other one where you got a guided tour. But the guided tour would have extra special features, interactive features. So I'm just putting that down. And then someone's going to have to drive all around North, Central and South America in order to go to auctions and talk to people who have memorabilia that I can put in my museums. If not outright buy, then borrow. This was lent to us by the family of so-and-so. Right, so that's another thing I've got down. My dreams are speaking to me. I'm going to go. I'll speak to you later. Ka kite.